You want to know what it's like to live in Danville, California? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today. So let's get to it. So in today's video, we are going to talk about one of the nicest and most exclusive cities in the San Francisco East Bay, and that's Danville, California. I'm Rich Fleming, your local realtor. I am here to teach you everything you need to know about living, working, playing, sleeping, eating. You know the drill in the San Francisco Bay Area. I do these videos because I've moved places and not known anyone or anything, and it is tough. So if you've got questions about moving to the area, moving from the area, or just anything real estate related, find my contact information in the description below. And you can also schedule a 30-minute Zoom call with me there. So let's just jump into life in Danville, California. So as I always like to do in these videos, let's start out with some background on the location of the town of Danville and its demographics. So the town of Danville, and here's a little trivia. There are 438 municipalities in California. 22 of them use the term town. In California, city and town mean the same thing. Don't know why Danville chose to be a town. But anyway, you can find Danville on a map about 20 miles directly due east of Oakland, but there is no point A to point B highway that will take you here. So, or get you here. So from Oakland, you have to take Highway 24 east into Walnut Creek. And then from there, you probably have to drive about 10 to 15 minutes south on Highway 680 to get to downtown Danville, which is where I am. The city occupies a landmass of about 18 square miles and has a population of roughly 43,500 people. It was historically a farming community until the post-World War II time period, and after the war, it really started to become more of a suburban area, and it actually did not incorporate until 1982. So let's talk about schools here in Danville. And really, the public schools is one of the top reasons people move here. Danville is part of the San Ramon Valley Unified School District. I believe the school district did start here in Danville, but it now covers a number of cities in this area. In Danville, I think there are 8 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, and 2 high schools. And there are a number of private schools, and probably the most well-known private school is the Athenian School. Sorry, you got buses going down the street. But typically when you do research online on the schools here, they always get very good ratings. If you go to niche.com, I think it pretty much rates all of the schools, and the district overall is an A+. So that is one of the major draws to Danville. Transportation here in Danville. So this is going to be a short section because Danville really doesn't have a whole lot of public transportation. So in one of my earlier segments, a bus came running down the street. I think that is the only bus that runs through the town of Danville. It's along the main commercial strip here. This is Hart's Avenue, and really that's about it. This is an extremely car-oriented city. It is not a public transit-oriented city at all. So if you like to walk, it's not a very walkable city unless you live very close to the downtown area. But if you like to be able to walk, bike even, or get public transportation, this is not a great city for that. There is no BART station here. The 2 closest BART stations are either north at Walnut Creek. That's about probably a 15-minute drive with no traffic. We probably double that in traffic times. And the Pleasanton station, which is probably about a 15 to 20-minute drive south. The main highway, really the only highway going through the city, is 680. It gets pretty congested, but it's definitely not the worst highway in the Bay Area by any stretch of the imagination. Crime here in Danville. So this is going to be another short section of this video. Danville is an extremely safe city. It regularly gets awards for being one of the safest cities in California. I think it won some award for being the safest or among the safest cities in California for like 5 years straight. So there is almost no violent crime here, very little, relatively speaking, and most of the crime you see reported on crime maps are in the downtown area where the commerce is, the restaurants, some of the bars, things like that. So occasionally you do get car break-ins, things like that, but by the standards of cities like Oakland, Danville is a very safe and sleepy town in that regard. So things to do in Danville. Danville is a relatively sleepy town. It is definitely not a huge arts and entertainment town. It is definitely not a huge night scene area, but it has an extremely strong restaurant scene and kind of bars that support that restaurant scene. There is a great dueling piano bar here in town. But if you're looking for major retail like Nordstrom's, Tiffany's, things like that, you will have to go up to Walnut Creek, which is probably about 15 minutes north to the downtown area there, or south to Pleasanton, which is also about 15-20 minutes away. It has great access to Mount Diablo, and there is a recreational trail called the Iron Horse Trail. It's really flat, great for walking, great for biking, just getting out and about. But that's really, what people do here in town. If they're looking for more liveliness, they usually go to Walnut Creek, or they head out to Oakland or San Francisco. Let's talk housing in Danville. Danville is an extremely expensive city to find housing, rental, or purchase-wise. The median price, according to Redfin, of a detached home in Danville in July of 2024 was $2.3 million, just under that. The median price for townhomes was about $1.3 million, and for condos it was about $650,000. So as you can tell, these are pretty high ranges as far as home prices. You can find homes, detached homes, that go down to maybe about $1.5 million, $1.75 million for a smaller 2 or 3 bedroom home that's older. And there are definitely homes in this city that go for the tens of millions of dollars, definitely $5+ million. So you have a pretty wide range of higher end housing. So the way the city developed, the housing stock near 680 on the western part of the city tends to be older. Most of that housing was built somewhere between the 1940s and about the 1970s, maybe the early 1980s. And on the eastern and northern-ish side of the city, that part of the city really developed in the 90s and 2000s. So you'll get a lot more tract homes, the standard California tract home, suburban home in that area. The lots tend to be smaller, and the homes themselves tend to be a little bit more standardized there. Driving to the northern part of the city, or the northeast part of the city, one of the drawbacks from my point of view is once you get off the highway, to get to that part of the city can be, anywhere from a 10 to 20 minute additional drive from the freeway, just due to traffic conditions and the distance it is from the freeway. So keep that in mind if you're looking at properties in that area. So let's talk commerce here in Danville. Danville is really primarily a bedroom community. There aren't a lot of major employers. Actually, I'm not aware of any major employers in Danville. You get a lot of high-end retail, restaurants, you'll get financial consultants, attorneys, accountants, real estate offices, but no major employers. If you are looking to work for a major employer, you will at a bare minimum have to go to either Walnut Creek, which is about 15 minutes to the north, or Pleasanton, which is about 15 minutes to the south, or more likely you'll have to go into San Francisco or Oakland, or even Silicon Valley, which is probably about 25 to 30 miles south of Danville, but at rush hour that is a significant commute. So commerce pretty limited here in town. Let's wrap this up with pros and cons, as I often do in these videos. So let's start with the pros. Number one pro of Danville is it is just a beautiful place to live. I mean, it's safe. You've got great amenities here, great schools, things like that. Overall, it's just a very nice place to live. The second pro, as I alluded to, is the schools. People move here specifically to be able to get into the school district, the San Ramon Valley School District. Very high marks, a lot of academic success coming out of that school district. The third thing that's really a pro is its proximity to Walnut Creek and Pleasanton. Both of those cities probably have more things, for lack of a better term, going on in them, but they're both very close, probably within 15 minutes drive, and you avoid living in some of the relative hustle and bustle related to that, though. Now, let's cover those cons. And the most obvious con, as you probably got from the housing section earlier, is the cost of living here, the cost of housing yourself here. It is an extremely expensive city to live in. If you are without substantial financial means, it's pretty difficult to move here and buy homes here or even rent here. Rents in this city probably start, even for small one-bedroom places, probably start at, I'm going to guess, around $2,500 to $3,000 a month. So it is definitely not inexpensive. The second drawback, at least from my perspective, is because it is such an affluent community, you do lack social economic diversity. So just people that come from all kinds of backgrounds, this is just a very affluent community. So if you like a little bit more of a mix of people, Danville is probably not going to be the ideal place for you in that regard. But, you know, it's close to Oakland. You get even more of it in Walnut Creek. And the third con in my book is the poor transportation alternatives here in Danville. If you don't enjoy being in your car, or even worse, if you hate being in your car, Danville is definitely not going to be the right place for you. Now, the city of San Ramon lies just to the south of Danville. It is another spectacular city, very popular in this area. And you know, I've already done a video on it, so I'll put a link to that video somewhere here on the screen. If you have any questions about anything I covered in this video, or just have questions about Bay Area real estate or relocating here, that's why I do these videos. I put my contact information in the video description below. You can book a 30-minute Zoom call with me there, and I will catch you in the next video.